Circularity is one of the keys to become sustainable and something we indeed need to start doing by design. To do that, we need to understand and manage the full life cycle of a product. In this context, the full life cycle of a battery.
Welcome to a brand new episode of our podcast, Human and AI, Mind, Machines, and the Gradient Descent.
Thanks for tuning in to our geeky podcast to discuss the fascinating field of AI and machine learning, corporate craziness, passion for technology, and the role of humans. We are Uli and Abri, your hosts for this episode, and today we're super grateful to have Frank Rørtvedt with us, live from Norway. No way. He is a digital enterprise sales specialist. So in other words, he's committed to create value and help accelerate the digital transformation within the process industry and manufacturing, utilizing Industry 4.0 tech, the digital enterprise approach, consulting, implementation, and optimization services. But it all comes down to his driving force, which is to support and inspire people to focus on what really matters, creating value by innovating and optimizing the different aspects of life and work.
What an opening! Amazing, right? That's crazy.
Yeah, and I guess, Uli, there's no more time left to lose, and we should jump right in. So, velkommen til vår podcast. That was Norwegian, I hope, and it means welcome to the show. So, how are you, Frank, and where do we catch you today?
Thank you, Aubrey and Uli, for having me. It's an honor to be live here with you guys. I'm fine. I feel optimistic and energized. I've been out workshopping lately with customers, and it's so amazing to finally meet people in real again.
There's something else that was very steady, and it's your work with Siemens, because you've been there for 9 years now. That's very impressive. That's a long time. And can you maybe briefly describe the area that you are currently working in and share with us maybe the most formative and fun memories of almost a decade in the Siemens family?
That makes you still junior, right? 9 years in Siemens is baby. You know, it's a very early beginning, I guess, right?
Yeah, you just started.
Yeah, I still feel like a rookie in Siemens. But I also truly can say that I feel it's been a lifetime already with all the stuff I experienced, all the great people I met, and all the things I constantly get to learn. So in my role, I meet and engage with Norwegian industrial companies, from fast-paced startups to established enterprises producing for decades. I work in the field of industrial digitalization, and we help our customer become faster, smarter, more flexible, more efficient, and more sustainable by applying technology such as digital twins, edge, industrial IoT, and AI. Over the years, one cool example I remember is while having a workshop with one of our food and beverage customers, we came up together with the customer the term of digital potato, which eventually turned into the concept of PaaS, so potato as a service. We now support the same customer with implementation of traceability and IoT in their plant, and the goal is to enable data-driven production optimization based on data from the potato, from the farm field, and all the way to the table of the consumer. So basically, we are on a mission to help our customer making more out of less. So it's quite challenging and complex topics we face, but also very fulfilling.
Yeah, I believe so. So, yeah, when we had the discussion prior, right, you thought you had some nice thoughts actually on, you know, as posing industrial AI as digital twins on neural steroids, right? So I think it was always a talk, right? I think it's a quite nice notion. Can you explain a bit, right, for the audience out there, what's for you a twin, right? And it seems to be a lot of applicable and a different, you know, myths around it, what a twin actually is. And the second is, what is the relationship to the neuron then?
Cool question. So the twin is a digital representation of an asset, be it a plant, a line, machine, process, or even the digital twin of performance of the final product or the plant itself. So it's a multifaceted representation, taking both design, simulation, and real data from its operation into account. And that's kind of our holistic view on digital twin. It's a lot of different ways to define it, but we typically work with operational challenges through the whole life cycle, and we need to kind of integrate the different steps in the life cycle to make the digital twin happen in a usable way, so to say. And the relationship to neurons is that in order to make sense of the twin, you need to process all this information. And in brownfield and older facilities, typically the human does all this processing of all the information. But now with IT and OT converging more and more, you can leverage these, what I call the digital neurons, to accelerate the thinking process and achieve so much more. So you kind of you connect in the digital, you augment the processes of both thinking, developing, designing, and optimizing within a lot of different areas, utilizing this digital twin. And in Siemens, we call this collaboration between the real and the virtual world for an infinity loop. And this is in reality the foundation you need to realize things like autonomous manufacturing. We often speak about closed loop manufacturing and so on. So it's basically the collaboration between the real and the virtual world that make all this optimization possible.
You just said, like, digital twin is it's about, having from design to operation, production, performance, and all these kinds of data representation together. But if you look on customer side, right, I would say, one question is, buy all in Siemens, right? Buy all Siemens stuff, and then it's maybe integrated, right? But in fact, actually on customer and client side, maybe not everything should be Siemens, right? Is it still doable? What is the challenge there? Building up such an end-to-end digital twin story, when you know that there is a plethora of systems to be incorporated, isn't it?
Yeah. So I think that's a really good question, and also something we discuss on almost most daily basis with different customer, because they always will have a variety of systems, ecosystem of different machine vendors, different system, different stakeholders, different personas on the different silos in the organization. And that's actually where Siemens can come in and break down the silos between the different departments, expertise, and so on, and transform the businesses into a digital enterprise. And I think the foundation is not to build, or our main message and our main objective together with the customer is not to deploy our whole portfolio, but rather to do the right choices from the beginning, have a standardized foundation with very good data quality, and so you actually can do what you need to do in the future steps when you have to operationalize and optimize the manufacturing processes. So that's for sure a very important step. And for the customer to choose Siemens technologies together with the possibilities to also combine it with different special technologies from machine vendors, from system vendors, and different niche vendors. That's part of the game here, and of course our role as services is to help the customer and consult the customer to bring the different parts together in a very scalable and fast way, so they don't need to rebuild and invent the wheel from the beginning at every time.
Scratch again.
Yeah.
There's also another field that you are very much into, and it's the field of battery manufacturing. And batteries are a very hot topic these days. And in general, battery manufacturing is a 20-year-old water and energy inefficient, critical mineral using process with the urgent need to transition more and more towards renewable energy generation. So we're becoming more sustainable and more independent. With that, the need for high performing sustainability manufactured batteries is becoming apparent. And when did you actually step into the battery production game, and what's your vision behind that?
Yeah, so we are in a position in Norway with our team, and also backed by the global team with a lot of battery know-how, a lot of domain know-how, not only on the manufacturing and technology domain, but also in kind of the battery end user perspective, with all of the energy and grid solutions we have in Siemens. We do have kind of the tech stack to cover the whole value chain. And when the first scale-ups or startups for battery manufacturing started to plan and design their plants here in Norway, basically a few years back, we started immediately to work closely with them, and as a part of our team focusing on supporting our customer with digital transformation and putting all the different tools and systems together, that was kind of a good starting point for us to engage with the battery manufacturers. And it turned out we had a lot to offer them, not only from a kind of technology operational perspective with all the automation and digitalization they need in their plant to produce stable and optimal in an optimized way, but also in regards of the engineering process, how they can quickly actually both design and deploy the different both systems, machines, plants they need. So we actually have quite a huge portfolio that fits perfectly to their needs. And now we have worked with them for 2 years, full-time, a big team, doing a lot of interesting co-creation, working with different perspectives, different challenges they have in different ways. So it's been quite a journey so far.
So what's the role of AI in the battery production? Can you elaborate a bit?
Yeah, AI plays a very important role in not only the production itself, but also the design of the production, which we already have some experience putting in practice and doing this. And also in regards of kind of doing the design exploration around chemistries, design of the product, design of the machines, processing, and so on. So it's a lot of different application areas for AI within battery manufacturing. And it's also actually something that can deliver immediate value to the customer.
So we already touched upon quite some sustainability aspects in the course of this podcast episode. But what role does actually circularity play in all of this? So can maybe the recycling and reuse of batteries or even battery parts be an answer to these issues? Or how can we actually design for that in the first place?
Resource scarcity is involving so many aspects, everything from raw materials, energy, water consumption, but also like workers and human expertise and how to really scale up and how to deploy and how to produce. It demands a lot of workers and a lot of expertise, which is also a scarcity today. So creating more out of less is one of our focus areas here in Siemens. And the technology we deploy and the value we can add should always be focused towards this. Circularity is one of the keys to become sustainable, and something we indeed need to start doing by design. To do that, we need to understand and manage the full life cycle of a product. In this context, the full life cycle of a battery. And one way to do this is to actually create a digital tool chain also utilizing AI to reverse engineer the whole recycling process in a more automated way. So it's a lot of different ideas, also in discussion currently with customers on how to actually achieve this in a more sustainable way. It's very, very, very interesting.
So then when we talk about sustainability, right, then we have the two sides of the story, sustainability and scalability, right? Obviously, all clients demand scalability, right? How is this connection? Is that not somehow provoking in itself? Does it fit along? How do you see it going scale, still going sustain, right? Is that the opposition actually of growth?
Yeah, you can think about it in this way, but also if we take a look at the bigger picture in the world, what do we need in order to tackle the enormous climate changes? So you need renewable energy, and in order to deploy that at scale, you also need battery storage or energy storage in many different forms. So it's kind of a chicken and hen problem. But I really believe that you need to scale up this part, even though it demands a lot of resources, a lot of raw materials, which already have a big scarcity. And you need a lot of energy to do this. But in order to make the transition into a more renewable energy sources and so on, you really need to do this. And I was listening to a recent talk by Elon Musk, who basically was very optimistic about the future, and they face these problems at scale. They have both supply chain and scaling up. Even though they are really good at scaling up, they still face the problems on where to source the raw material, where to source the chemistry they need, where to source and the energy they need, and how to do it in a sustainable way. But he is really, really optimistic about the future, because in his mind, we are already on a good way changing around the energy system. We have the technology. The technology still need to improve, and it does that iteratively year by year. But we only need to take the actions to do the work, to invest the money in order to come there. And when we are on that track, we will also be able to solve the issues of raw materials, of energy, and so on, because the innovation speed is fast at the moment, and will only gain more speed when we major in the fields of AI and simulation together, and how we can produce more sustainable. So I think it can go hand in hand, but it will be painful. But it's essential to do it. So you shouldn't try to optimize on one of the fields and then by doing that, sub-optimizing the whole energy systems. You should really talk about and see it on as a system optimization of the energy, and then you need to take these steps.
Speaking of scale, right? Obviously, one of an amazing scale would be, planning a gigafactory, and it turns out you're doing that, right? How crazy is that? So, what does it mean actually? Planning for a gigafactory. Everybody have heard in the news doing that, right? But that means like supersizing complexity. Is that so? How do you approach that?
Yeah, this is a huge task indeed, and even the best engineers cannot solve this using manual methods. So our team, both in headquarters as well as in the projects regionally, are utilizing optimization concepts here, including AI, to do this. So we talked about digital twins on neurons, and this is a practical example and a proven use case where we actually can apply this. And what we do is actually we connect the digital twin to our optimization algorithm and perform automated design exploration in the digital twin. So here you can let the AI take over and run the simulation model and iterate towards the best trade-offs and set of parameter in a lot of different areas.
That's for sure. It sounds huge, like thousands of parameters that would be impossible just to do by if it had to be done only by humans. So Frank, that's an immense task to do, and we're very impressed that you're tackling stuff like that, also with the battery production that we addressed even earlier. That demonstrates your experience that you've gathered in the past, and you feel comfortable doing that. So maybe if you have a look back to your time, maybe when you were a student or an early professional, is there any advice that you would have that you would like to give genius minds out there who are crazy about ideas and really want to make a difference? So how can you really be that innovative pioneer that starts initiatives and pushes boundaries in a complex and sometimes rigid Siemens world?
Yeah, so there is a misunderstanding about creativity, that you kind of cannot be creative within some kind of boundaries, but that's actually wrong. Within the boundaries, which you always have in real world, where you have some kind of design space to maneuver within, some kind of organizational limits, some kind of budget limits, and so on. Actually, there is where creativity can flourish, and what you can do is kind of always be curious, always push the boundaries on what's possible, what can we do in the different situation, with the different challenges you have. So you basically have to utilize the base you have, the platform you have within. It can be kind of a department, a team, where you have a different competence. You might have a special focus area within your team, but you always have the possibility to kind of build upon the customer challenge and work yourself backwards from the challenge to a solution. And there is where creativity will fuel innovation in a very nice way.
That's wonderful advice for sure, and definitely helpful just to work in the team, to be part of the team, to be curious, open-minded, to be bold. This is also what we pray at the Siemens AI Lab every morning.
Is it? That's a bold statement, isn't it? But maybe that's true. Let's show.
All right. But Frank, we're almost at the very end of our session. Before we finish this episode, we would like to play our favorite game. Uli loves it at least as much as I do. It's called Authentic Autocomplete. So I would like to give you, for the closing, a couple of sentence starters, and I would ask you to complete them. So Frank, are you ready for this final challenge of the day?
Yes.
Yes. All right. So let's start with an easy one. Siemens is
sustainable and scalable technology out of the box.
Nice. Norway is
front runners.
Yeah, truly true.
Technology with purpose is
making more out of less.
Oh, nice. Okay. That's the first one, right?
Yeah. Sustainable battery manufacturing is
only realizable with AI and Siemens.
Hopefully. Let's see, but true. Yeah.
And last but not least, if I could invent a rule for everyone in the world to follow, it would be?
That's a really, really tough one. I don't know if a rule would be my style, but maybe how could we motivate people to create an impact for the future generations? I think that would be my take on this.
Hey Frank, thanks so much for being with us and being open and sharing, right? And our ways multiple times, crossed each other somehow, right? For some kinds of occurrences along the road of AI and digitalization and co-creation and clients and stuff like that. So I really always appreciate that, and we know you're super busy, in moving from client to client. But we're really happy that you took a bit of your time and spent with us and share your stories and share your thoughts with us. So thanks very much.
Thank you. And it was a pleasure to be on.
And folks out there, stay tuned. There's a lot more to come. I'm not sure what, but there will be awesome things to come. Stay bold, committed, and open-minded. And we'll hear us at the next Siemens AI Lab podcast. Cheers.